In 2026, one sporting event will generate more corporate money than the Super Bowl, the Olympics, and Formula One combined. Not over a season, not over a year, in 31 days, and the companies writing those checks are not just buying advertising space. They are buying something far more powerful: access to the last mass audience on Earth that cannot be skipped, streamed away, or scrolled past. This is the story of how FIFA 2026 is rewriting every rule of global corporate sponsorship, and why the money flowing through this tournament will change the business of sport forever. To understand what is about to happen in 2026, you need to understand what changed after 2022. The Qatar World Cup did something that shocked the entire advertising industry. Despite every controversy, the human rights concerns, the climate questions, the midnight kickoff times designed for European television, the tournament delivered viewership numbers that defied every prediction. 5 billion people engaged with the Qatar World Cup across television and digital platforms. 5 billion. That is 2/3 of every living human being on Earth. Advertisers who had quietly questioned whether the World Cup still carried its old power got their answer in the most expensive way possible. The ones who had pulled back watched their competitors dominate the conversation for an entire month. The ones who stayed in recorded the highest brand recall numbers in the history of sports marketing research. The lesson was brutal and simple. There is no replacement for the World Cup. There is nothing else that stops the world simultaneously, and FIFA 2026 is 3 times bigger. For the first time in history, the tournament expands from 32 teams to 48, 16 additional nations competing, 16 additional national fan bases activated, 16 additional markets where local corporations will spend aggressively to associate their brand with their national team's journey. The tournament spans 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico, creating a single event. With 3 distinct host economies, 3 different regulatory environments, 3 sets of local sponsorship opportunities, and a combined consumer market of over 500 million people. For global corporations, this is not a sporting event. It is the largest coordinated marketing activation in human history. Now, here is where the money becomes genuinely staggering. FIFA's commercial revenue from the 2022 World Cup was $7.5 billion. Internal projections for 2026, which have been reported by multiple financial publications, estimate total commercial revenue exceeding $11 billion. That is not growth. That is a structural transformation. The sponsorship architecture FIFA has built for 2026 operates on 3 tiers, and each tier tells a different story about who has power in global sport. At the top sit the FIFA partners, the 6 corporations who have purchased the highest level of global association with the tournament. These are not advertising packages, they are geopolitical positioning tools. Adidas, Coca-Cola, Wanda Group, Hyundai, Qatar Airways, and Visa each pay estimated fees between $150 and $200 million per World Cup cycle for rights that extend far beyond logo placement. FIFA partners receive exclusive category protection, meaning no competitor in their industry can advertise anywhere near official tournament broadcasts or venues globally. For Visa, this means MasterCard cannot appear in the same visual universe as the World Cup in any country on Earth. For Coca-Cola, Pepsi does not exist inside the tournament ecosystem. This level of competitive exclusion is worth multiples of the sponsorship fee itself. But the real story of FIFA 2026 is not at the top of the sponsorship ladder. It is in the middle. And it is being driven by a shift that nobody in traditional sports marketing predicted. Chinese corporations are taking over the FIFA World Cup. Wonder Group, Mengniu Dairy, Vivo, and Hisense, all Chinese companies, now hold 4 of the 6 FIFA partner slots, 4 out of 6. For a tournament being hosted entirely in North America, with a primary audience in the United States and Western Europe, Chinese companies hold the dominant sponsorship position. This is not accidental. This is state strategy operating through corporate investment. China did not qualify for the 2022 World Cup. It has a complicated path to 2026, but Chinese corporations advertising inside the World Cup ecosystem reached the same 5 billion viewers as any other sponsor, building brand recognition in Western markets where Chinese consumer brands have historically struggled to penetrate. FIFA 2026 is, among other things, the most expensive and sophisticated Chinese soft power operation in corporate history, and it is completely legal, completely transparent, and completely effective. The second transformation happening inside FIFA 2026 sponsorship is the arrival of an entirely new category of money: sports betting and financial technology. For decades, FIFA maintained strict restrictions on gambling companies entering the tournament's sponsorship ecosystem. Those restrictions have been quietly, systematically dismantled. Regional betting partnerships in markets where gambling is legal now represent one of the fastest-growing revenue streams in the entire commercial structure. The global sports betting market, currently valued at over $80 billion annually, identified the World Cup as its single greatest activation opportunity, and FIFA identified sports betting as its greatest untapped revenue source. The result is a financial marriage that traditionalists find uncomfortable and that executives find irresistible. Here is the warning that no FIFA press release will ever include. The sponsorship inflation surrounding FIFA 2026 is creating a corporate arms race with consequences that extend far beyond football. Mid-tier brands, companies that could historically afford regional World Cup partnerships, are now being priced out of the tournament ecosystem entirely. The minimum viable sponsorship investment to achieve meaningful World Cup association has crossed thresholds that only multinational corporations can reach. This consolidation of sports marketing spend among a smaller group of larger corporations is restructuring the entire advertising industry. Television networks that built their business models on diverse advertising portfolios are finding that World Cup cycles drain the available budgets of their regular advertisers. When a major corporation commits $150 million to FIFA, that money comes from somewhere, and it usually comes from the budgets that would have been distributed across 12 months of normal advertising. The World Cup does not just attract money, it pulls money from every other corner of the media economy and concentrates it into 31 days. And then there is the technology transformation that FIFA 2026 is accelerating faster than anyone anticipated. Amazon Web Services, which holds official cloud infrastructure partnership rights for the tournament, is deploying artificial intelligence systems that will generate real-time statistical overlays, personalized broadcast experiences, and automated highlight packages in over 40 languages, within 90 seconds of any goal being scored. The commercial implications of this technology extend far beyond the tournament itself. Every system being built and tested for FIFA 2026 becomes the operational template for how all live sport is broadcast and monetized for the following decade. The sponsors funding this infrastructure are not just buying World Cup advertising. They are buying the right to shape how billions of people experience live sport in the future. The United States, hosting the majority of FIFA 2026 matches, 60 out of 104 games, represents something that American corporations have been waiting 30 years to access. Since the 1994 World Cup, American business has watched European and Asian corporations dominate global football sponsorship, while the domestic market remained resistant to the sport. That resistance is ending. The MLS generation, tens of millions of Americans who grew up watching football, who filled stadiums for Messi's Inter Miami debut, who drove Apple TV Plus subscriptions through their football consumption, has reached peak consumer spending age. They are 25 to 40 years old. They are the most commercially valuable demographic on Earth. And they are about to watch a World Cup in their own country for the first time in their adult lives. American corporations have identified this moment with the precision of a military campaign. Nike, Apple, Google, and a coalition of American financial and technology brands are preparing sponsorship and marketing activations for FIFA 2026 that dwarf anything deployed in previous tournaments. They are not entering football. They are reclaiming it from the corporations that filled the vacuum during the decades America looked away. The boardrooms where these decisions are being made are not football boardrooms. They are strategy rooms where executives are answering a question that has nothing to do with goals or trophies. The question is this: in a world where every screen can be personalized, where every algorithm serves a different reality to every user, where shared cultural experiences are disappearing at an accelerating rate, where is the last place on Earth where 5 billion people are paying attention to the same thing at the same moment? The answer, in 2026, as in every World Cup before it, is a football pitch, and the corporations that understand what that attention is truly worth are not buying a sponsorship. They are buying the most valuable real estate in human consciousness. For 31 days, and when the final whistle blows, when the confetti falls and the trophy is lifted, the real winners will not be the team on the pitch. They will be the names on